there.
Brock had said that he was shocked that the Raiders made him pick. How much contact did you guys have with him in the draft process?
The normal amount of contact. That's kind of the way we don't really like to put up billboards of who we're going to be, possibly interested in. But we did a lot of work on Brock. Our scouts have seen him for, obviously as freshman you're not eligible, but he jumped out as a freshman right away. But a good amount of work through the fall, through the pre-draft process, all the way through, just like everybody else. We you do all the work on all these guys because you never know who you're going to be taking in reality. Now we do cut our board down pretty significantly, so we do a lot of work, probably on a smaller group of players. But you have to be prepared for every scenario. So and that worked out.
I know you said you guys love Michael Mayer, and he's still a part of the plans. Is there any concern about his injury?
No concerns at all with that. Yeah.
Brock mentioned he was shocked. Were you shocked that he was there at 13?
No, not shocked. I mean, you kind of look at where the top 15 picks are, and someone may be coming down. So the draft's unpredictable. It just is. So we do this for a living, and we can't really 100% dictate who's going to be there. But you have plans together. I know as a player, they're trying to figure out where they're going to go, where they're going to spend the next 4 or 5, hopefully 10 years of their lives, what city they're going to go to. And typically, our scouts do such a great job in the fall process, and then in the winter during the All-Star season, and then even in the spring. We never feel like we have to all of a sudden last second do all this extra work on a guy. Our guys do a great amount of work leading up to it, so we're very prepared.
You told us that story about the Keenan Allen draft and kind of how that played out, and kind of drove home that point about taking the best player available. Pretty much everybody says that going into the draft. What does it take to actually sort of stick to that philosophy when you're on the clock and have to make a decision?
Every situation is a little bit different, but you try and stick to that when you can. Sometimes it's harder than you think sometimes, because you're adding to the football team, and we know where we are today. But we are looking for today and in the future. But with a player like Brock, just where the scouting staff, where they had him, what they thought about him, what the coaching staff thought, he was really pretty a consensus guy. Makes it a little bit easier, fully knowing that, we have Michael Mayer, who's an excellent tight end, but, there's no rule in the NFL that you can only play one. We can play 2 tight ends. We can move people around. At Notre Dame, Michael was split out sometimes as a receiver. Brock has been split out as a receiver. Brock has even played some running backs, some end arounds. And then our receivers can go inside and outside. So be a nice little group to work with.
Both of them played both at Georgia and Notre Dame with multiple tight end sets, sometimes 13 personnel at both schools. Does that help a little bit, knowing that they know how to kind of find their way?
I think so. There's different ways to attack people week to week, and the more options we have available in the tight end room and the receiver room, the better.
Earlier this week, you talked about how not only were you trying to draft a player, on the field, but someone to represent Las Vegas. Just from the work that you've done and your scouts have done, what do you think about Brock Bowers' his demeanor and just his character so far?
Yeah, it's excellent. I think when he gets here tomorrow, when you guys talk to him, you get a really good feel. If you haven't spent any time with him, or if you guys didn't talk to him at the combine, he's a pretty special kid. So I think he's going to fit in great in Las Vegas.
You mentioned that he's special. I mean, obviously we've seen what his body of work. Maybe with your scouts, your coaches, anybody ever say anything to you that they could really pinpoint what makes him so special?
It's usually what you do off the field. So it's the preparation, the work ethic, the weight room, the meeting rooms. I think I mentioned it last week. There's just so much that goes into being a really high-level professional football player that involves more than just talent. And a lot of that, what you do in the weight room, on the field with conditioning. This is a tough league, and it's really talented. And no matter how talented you are, you got to find what that other edge is to get over the top. And certainly with guys like that, we're looking for that. In every round, you're looking for that. But as you talk to them, I think you'll get a feel for it. And I'm sure you guys will reach out to Georgia and whoever else, and I think you're going to hear the same thing about his work ethic, his character, and his his football intelligence.
I'm sure at your previous stop you'd probably done a little bit of work, at least for this upcoming draft. When you got hired here, how did that process play out when it came to, if you had any discrepancies between your big board versus the staff and what they did here? How did you kind of blend those things together?
Yeah, it was kind of cool, because I kind of had, I already had my thoughts, and I also had, a lot of what the last team I was with, at least up until December, mid-December, kind of what those guys thought. And then I got here and I got another perspective from another group of scouts. So I thought it was really cool to kind of blend that all together. It's all very subjective. There's no official listing by position or even overall. So it's more art than science, but it's kind of fun putting the whole process together, using two sets of information essentially.
Besides Bowers, you had a choice of any defensive player in the country. Were you surprised by that? And that kind of give you a pause as far as going with Bowers?
As opposed to?
Oh, the best defensive player.
Oh, yeah. I can't really remember a draft that's played out like that. Have they said that at all? I mean, I can't remember that many offensive players going at one time. No, I don't know. It kind of zeroed in on Brock right there. But, I would say that's got to be an anomaly to have the first defensive player go. Where do you go? 14, 15, around there? What was it? 15, yeah. Yeah, but, when that many quarterbacks go early, which doesn't happen that often, someone's going to get pushed down, so.
You've done a lot of these, but this was your first as a Raider. Now that it's over to the first round, can you just tell us, how did you enjoy it? Were you able to enjoy it? Were you nervous? How did you feel?
The best part was George Atkinson was sitting right across from me, and he was telling some great stories when he came out of college and about the process, the draft process when he went through it. That was probably the best part of today. So it was good. It was fun. It's there's a lot of anxiety going in. You don't know how it's going to break, but if you prepare well enough, we got good people in there. It's not like I'm sitting there by myself. I got a big staff of people to bounce ideas off of. All the scouts were in there, but it was kind of cool having George in there. Make sure we had to have some true Raiders in there. Get some Raider history in that draft room.
What's Antonio's thoughts, just his excitement to coach just such a young, talented guy? Well,
I know he's excited about it, but I don't want to speak for him, so I'll let him kind of talk about him when he gets up here eventually. He's a defensive guy, obviously, but now he's the head coach. He does see it with a wide lens. So, offense, defense, whatever, he thinks could best help the team. He was 100% on board with the pick. But I'll let him explain it in his own way when he gets up here.
So, who made the call to Brock and how did that go?
I talked to him, and then AP talked to him, and typically those calls are pretty short. I mean, the kid's just, he's celebrating, and usually they have no idea who I am. They may know who the head coach is, but they hear Raiders, and then after that, it's just a lot of yelling in the background. So, and like you said, he was probably, surprised, thinking, didn't know we were one of the teams that were interested. But, it's a special moment for those kids and their families.
I know the wheels are probably already spinning for tomorrow, but as you see the first round play out, do you feel like it sets up some opportunities for you guys on day two?
It should, yeah. I mean, I looked at it really quick and look a little bit tonight, and then I told everyone to kind of let it marinate tonight. We'll talk again tomorrow morning, but it should. It should play out. I did a little more work tonight, but as we kind of went through the first round in our process, we'll look at rounds 2 and 3, like if we do this position, how it could affect others, and I think we should be in good shape.
Were there any discussions about moving back into the first round, late in the first round?
Yes, but nothing that really, nothing that we ran with, obviously.
You guys good? Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Would you maybe get to Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
That was good, right? Sincere.